Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob.
And I'm Professor Sherry.
And together we are
the Traveling Professors.
Today Sherry and I are taking you on a little walking tour of the Treasury of Atreus at Mycenae. I might mention that Atreus was the father of Agamemnon and Menelaus. This tomb is also referred to as the Tomb of Agamemnon and the Beehive Tomb as well. Now, once we arrived at Mycenae, this is the view that we had getting off of our bus. This is the citadel of Mycenae, which we'll get to later, but right now we're going to head to the Tholos. And of course, a tholos is a beehive tomb that were built throughout Greece from 1520 to about 1300 BCE. And it was believed for quite some time that Tholos here at Mycenae was in that range. But today, the archaeologists have put the date of this one down to 1230 BC. Now, in all, there are 9 plundered tombs that were discovered at Mycenae, all of them outside the citadel area. And there have been over 100 that have been discovered all over Greece. However, this one at Mycenae, the Treasury of Atreus, or whatever you wish to call it, is without a doubt the finest example. Now, the Mycenaeans did not cremate their elites, but put the deceased in tombs or in shaft graves, such as the 2 that were found at Mycenae, one inside the citadel walls and one outside the citadel walls. Since the tombs have been looted, we assume that based on what are known as shaft graves, which are the ones that were found elsewhere in the city, that weapons, regalia, and then food or drink were placed in the tombs for the deceased. Now, these tholos have distinctive parts. There is the dromos, which is the name for the walls that lead into the actual tomb itself, and they're lined with waterproofing clay. Then you have the doorway and its lintel above it. And then the Tholos tomb itself, this one has 33 rows of stone. Then you see there's a resting place for the body. And then this one has it marked as an ossuary. Now, it could be a storage area, it could be a treasure area. An ossuary usually denotes a bone storage facility. Now, here is a map of the 9 Tholos that are around the fortress and city of Mycenae. Number 1 is known as the Lion's Tomb. Number 3 is known as the Tomb of Agamemnon. Number 4 is the Tomb of Clymestra. Number 10 is where we're at, which is the Tomb of Atreus. Number 11 is the Tomb of the Cyclopedia. Number 12 is the Tomb of Epaminondas. Tomb number 13 is Catophonorus. Tomb, which is numbered 14, is the Tomb of Pythiasa. And then the last one, numbered 15, is the Tomb of the Genii or of Orestes. Now, I would mark on this map for you where the 2 circle grave burials are, which are shaft tombs. One of them here is inside Mycenae. That's the one that was discovered by Schliemann. And that is known as Circle Grave A. And then you have the other one, which is outside here, which is a Grave Circle B.
I can't help but think of the domes of Italian churches when I visit these amazing tombs. Every stone fitted to create the dome and bear the weight of those above it, and tons of earth. Sophisticated, marvelous engineering.
After parking the bus, the parking lot provided for the visit to the Tomb of Atreus, we begin our very short walk to the site. Here we have the guard gate. Get your tickets. Keep an eye on you. It's a little hard to steal large pieces of stone from this place. And then we start walking towards the tomb. There you see the magnificent entryway into the Tomb of Atreus, with its gigantic walls. Now, those walls are referred to as dromos walls, as I mentioned before. And they are made of a composite stone. Now, the length here, as you're walking towards it, is 118 feet long, 36 meters. The wall itself would be 6 meters wide or 20 feet wide. Peaks at 34 feet or 10.5 meters. If you notice on this wall side at the very bottom, you have much larger stones. All the other stones are pretty much the same size, but the bottom course stones are 6 meters by 1.5 meters in width. So they're 20 feet long and 5 feet wide. So pretty extensive. Here's a nice close-up of one of the composite stones used to construct the walls and the entire tomb. Then we can head towards the entrance. You see the big doorway with the lintel up above, and of course there's our guide heading that direction. Now, the doorway would have been 2 panels, probably of stone, coated with either wood or bronze leaf. And they would have then turned on stone slabs that were located at the threshold. So you get a little closer, you can see the bottom part where the doors were. Then you can see the top triangle, which helps it offset all of that weight. And then you have what it would have looked like. So on the one side, we have what we see when we visit the site, and the other is what it would have looked like without the door. You have the columns, you have the whole lintel covered with the triangle piece in the middle. Well, where are those pieces? Did they survive? Well, some of it has. The British Museum in London has some of the pillars. Here you have a mock-up of the pillars with the pieces that they have that would have been there. Well, they didn't get all of it. You go back to Athens, to the Archaeological Museum in Athens. They have a replica of the door, and they have columns. They have replica columns with some authentic pieces that the British didn't get. Then on the wall next to one of the columns, they have 3 pieces of the lintel. But here's a little closer shot. And then here is a very good close-up. So here's the top triangular piece. Now, if you take the artist's rendition, you can see where that piece would have fit. Then the next piece below is the detail that you find on the darkened lines going across the lintel. And this shows where it would have been located on that particular lintel. And then you get down to the final piece that was displayed on the wall. And then here is where its location. So there was at least that piece of it that managed to survive. So now it's time to go inside the tomb. There's the ceiling over the entryway. And then you walk into this absolutely magnificent construction. A little hard taking a picture shooting back out through the doorway with the light, but you get some idea as to its size. Now, the tholos itself was 48 feet in diameter, 14.6 meters, and it was 44 feet high. It's 13.5 meters. And what you see with the one picture I showed you, the entrance to the door, this picture where you can get a better idea of the curvature. There's a little space there that's 6 meters by 6 meters by 6 meters for storage. Then you see the floor, which would have been covered with finished stone. Now here you see the stone wall inside the tholos, and it is curved all the way around. This is the composite stone that the wall outside the dromos was made out of. This is the wall inside is made the same way. However, they would have been faced with another slab of stone over them, possibly gypsum, because they have found gypsum in some of the excavations.
Museums are wonderful. Everything is dated and described. Floors are clean and flat, and the air is chilled or heated as necessary. But for me, nothing compares to the awe-inspiring structures from the ancient world. I just wanted to lie on the floor and marvel at the engineering. I didn't do that, of course. Bob would have been mortified. I'll probably save it for another time.
Sherry's right. I would have been mortified. However, it would have probably been the best way to have gotten a picture of the top of the dome. The picture that I took, it was very hard to do, bending over trying to get that shot. It is really incredible to see the stone workmanship when you see that center area. Here's a shot showing the curvature of the wall. And then we have inside a niche. Now, I call it a niche. It's pretty good size. It also had a lintel that would have been covered like the front one on entry. They have it roped off, and it's very difficult to keep Sherry from going past roped objects, but I was successful here. This area inside is 20 feet by 20 feet by 20 feet. Now, when the tomb was looted in ancient times, none of its contents have survived, except some pieces of gypsum on the floor. But the writer Pausanias tells us that the Greeks believed the tomb was the treasury of Atreus and his descendants because of the accounts of the opulence of the grave goods that were looted from the building. So that is a real indication of imagining what could have been in here, particularly when you see the treasure that was with the Mycenaean burials in the grave circles that Schliemann found inside Mycenae. At any rate, it's time to head out. It's time to head to Mycenae itself. So we walk out through the main walls down to our bus, then drive to the next parking lot, which was obviously really efficiently placed by the Mycenaeans years ago for tourism. Then we will climb up Mycenae itself. If you want to see the Tholos, you can. This is a view from about halfway up Mycenae, looking at the Tholos area as well as the parking lot. And then as you come out and head towards where our bus is, here is the view that you have through the trees of the mountains and the fortress of Mycenae. And now we'll head on.
Don't forget my mantra, water, shoes, hat, water, shoes, hat.
Sherry and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please come by our YouTube channel at Bob Packett on YouTube. It should be History According to Bob, but it comes up as Bob Packett. That's the easiest way to get to it. And please subscribe and leave some comments. Thank you very much. If you like history, please come by historyaccordingtobob.com website, where I do 6 podcasts a week on different topics in history. And there's all sorts of CDs and other things that you can see. So thank you very much.